Michael Cohen here with you on the Sports Talk Nation. Glad you could join us here this afternoon as we are finally going to talk about last night's preseason game between the Jets and the Green Bay Packers. Jets winning it by a score 30-10, but as we all know with preseason, it's not about the results, not even about the final score. And honestly, especially when you get to the early part, when you're in the early part of the preseason schedule, outside of the first half, it's really not much to talk about. But that's just the way preseason is. I know a lot of people like to jump off the ledge when it comes to preseason games, but it's certainly not worth it. But there's always a little bit you can glean out of a preseason game. And when you have a team in a situation like the Jets are in, new head coach, new quarterback, really new framework as far as what this franchise is going to look like moving forward here in 2025 and beyond, you can glean a little bit from a game like this as we try to project a little bit what this team could look like. But again, it is preseason. There's only so much you can take out of these kind of games. The first thing, obviously, is this. Justin Fields looked pretty good. In his debut with the New York Jets, because I thought the Jets and Tanner Engstrand did something very smart, was keeping it very simple. They didn't try to go outside the box. They didn't reveal too much, obviously, of what they would like this offense to look like. It was a very simple check-down offense. Keep things very, make sure that they had plays that were fairly simple to run. But the thing that stood out, obviously, in all those plays is that the fact they had so many guys wide open in the middle of the field, especially underneath, like Tyler Johnson being open in the middle of the field, and Andrew Beck really coming out of nowhere, being wide open in the middle of the field. And it was a very efficiently run offense that was mostly predicated on the running game. I mean, you just take a look at the plays that were run by the Jets in this first and only series for the starters. Breece Hall, 3 yards. Breece Hall again, 2 yards. Then you have Justin Fields in the shotgun and keeps it very simple. Underneath, they finds the open man Tyler Johnson, gets the first down. Then you have, after an incompletion, Justin Fields again, underneath, finding Andrew Beck. So you want to kill a little bit of Green Bay if you want to, for the way they defended the Jets in this drive. But the fact is, they took what the defense gave them. Justin Fields didn't force the ball downfield, and the Jets kept it very smart and efficient, and they moved the ball down the field. And you also saw Braylon Allen get involved. He had a really good day to Braylon Allen, 14 yards on his first carry, and that very eventually set up what would be the touchdown run by Justin Fields and a nice read by Fields, as obviously his initial look was going to be Tyler Johnson over here on his left on the flank, but he was not open, decided instead to tuck it and run, found daylight and got the touchdown. So it was an efficient drive. It was it had to make you feel good that the Jets were keeping it very, very simple. Now, if we're sitting here in Week 10, and the Jets' offense is still keep it simple, stupid, we're going to have a little bit of another kind of discussion, especially if the team isn't winning games. That'll be another discussion for another day. But for a preseason game, first time out, you're trying to get the kinks out. You're also trying to quiet a lot of the noise. And there's been a lot of chatter by beat reporters about Justin Fields in camp, that he hasn't exactly been efficient in practices, and we've seen a lot of stat keeping coming out of the practices so far in training camp. So for a first game against another team, it was a very efficiently run offense. But it was, again, a first step. I don't think we really have an idea or an answer to who will be the number 2 receiver outside of Garrett Wilson. Will it be a Tyler Johnson? I think is certainly in the mix. Will it be a Brandon Smith? Will it be Alan Lazard? Those are still questions that I think are very much out there. Arian Smith, another one. Questions that are very much out there for the Jets as we move forward in camp. The other thing that stands out, let's just get right to it. Aaron Glenn. In fact, let's just take a look at this, guys. I mean, look at this. How many times in this game did we see Aaron Glenn chew guys out? Michael Clemens gets called for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, obviously a lot of pushing and shoving at one point early in the game. Michael Clemens, of course, who seems to always get involved in these kinds of things, gets flagged, and Aaron Glenn pulls him over, starts chewing him out, and pulls him out of the game. That's accountability. And we see that again and again throughout this game where the Jets got called. The Jets had a lot of penalties in this game. They had 10 penalties in this game, and a lot of them came in that first quarter. There was the encroachment penalty to start the game. There was that, obviously, that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that I just alluded to. There were a lot of stupid penalties the Jets made that angered Aaron Glenn, that stood out early in this game, and he let guys have it on the sideline. He did. And I can't remember the last time we've seen a coach for the Jets do that. Certainly Robert Saleh wasn't that kind of coach. Obviously Adam Gase wasn't that kind of coach. And even Todd Bowles wasn't exactly that kind of coach who would chew guys out on the sideline. So it's been a while since we've seen that. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Bill Parcells. And I know Aaron Glenn weeks ago tried to, say, look, I'm my own coach. And he is. Certainly he is his own coach. But he took a little bit out of the Bill Parcells and even the Sean Payton school of coaching, and you could see it there on the sideline where he would get animated at times and let guys have it when it was needed, and it was nice to see. He also isn't afraid to crack a smile and have some fun with the players, as we saw, and this leads into absolutely our player of the game, and that is TUFELE. TUFELE, who had a tremendous game, right? This is a guy who's an interior defensive lineman. He's trying to find a way to make the team. Had a standout performance. 3 tackles. He had a 1.5 sacks. He had a fumble recovery that led to a touchdown. He was all over the field for the Jets, number 78. And if the Jets are looking for somebody to include in the rotation in the defensive line, to be a guy that can bring in, maybe even a backup at some point this year, I think TUFELE is certainly, and I think everyone kind of agrees with this at this point, he has made the case to make this team on the 53-man roster right out of training camp. He earned it in this game. And you want to say, let's see what he can do next week against the Giants. Absolutely, totally understand that. But that was a heck of a performance and a dominant performance. And then he gives the game ball to Aaron Glenn, and Glenn has a big smile on his face. And that's what I was alluding to just a second ago. Glenn even also allowed to crack a smile, have some fun with his players as well on the sideline. But that was a standout performance. And really, overall, the defense, very aggressive. 4 sacks overall, forced a couple of turnovers. Sauce Gardner was very aggressive at quarterback, and you saw him coming in and making plays on tackles that we didn't see him really make that much of or have that kind of aggression under Saleh's defensive schemes. So I think from that standpoint, that's another thing we take away from this game is, well, yes, it's preseason. It's very vanilla football. I understand that. But the Jet defense, very aggressive. Even with the mistakes they made up for it. They found ways to get the Packers off the field. The Jets special teams, especially the defensive side, very aggressive, forced a fumble as well, as we saw in this game. So there was a few things to pick apart here where you could be, from the Jets standpoint, pleased with what you saw in a preseason game against what turned out to be mostly a lot of guys who are battling for positions and jobs here at a training camp. So that's where the Jets stand right now, 1-0 out of the preseason. And now they take on, next week, they'll take on the Giants in the Battle of the Meadowlands. And very quickly here, let me just shift right over here to the Giants. Might as well. I did not see, and I'll be honest with you, I did not see much of the Giants game. I only saw a little bit, and I did not see much of Jackson Dart live in his performance, but I did see the stats, did see the highlights. That touch pass into the end zone for the touchdown, fantastic. A tremendous throw, 29-yarder to Lil Jordan Humphrey that gave the Giants a 10-0 lead at one point against the Buffalo Bills. It was a solid performance. Granted, it is preseason for a reason. And I'm not going to sit here and start going crazy saying that Jackson Dart's going to be the next be-all or end-all for the New York Giants, just like I'm not going to go crazy saying that the Jet offense was explosive or that what we saw yesterday, what we're going to see in the regular season, it's preseason, folks. It's only just a step towards what we're getting to. But for the Giants, for Jackson Dart, for at least Brian Dable in front office, that has to feel good for them to see Jackson Dart go 12 out of 19, 154 yards, and a touchdown. They have 4 very tough decisions to make at quarterback because obviously Russell Wilson's going to be the starting quarterback. What Jackson Dart's going to be is obviously going to be at least the backup, if not the third stringer. Who's going to be the second stringer? Will be Jameis Winston? Will be Tommy DeVito? One of those two guys is going to have to go. You would have to imagine. I would think Tommy DeVito is the one who's going to end up with a short straw when we get to the end of camp, but who knows? Maybe the Giants end up trading Jameis Winston to a team who gets desperate for a starting caliber quarterback. We'll see. But we do know Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart are here to stick around for Big Blue, and they certainly got something out of their rookie quarterback on Saturday afternoon in Buffalo. So that sets up going forward what should be an interesting week at camp. Those two teams will meet each other, Giants and Jets, for a scrimmage that is season ticket holder only. So if you're not a season ticket holder, you can't see it, obviously. And then, obviously, on Saturday, they'll play one another in a preseason game. And we will see where we are at that point with these two teams moving forward. Two very young teams that are trying to erase certainly recent years of bad history and trying to turn the page to something better. So, folks, like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time. Leave your thoughts below. How do you feel about the Jets after that first preseason game? And we'll see if that can continue and progress forward for the Jets in 2025. So, like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.